Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this morning I'm a little groggy. I have to wake myself up, but don't worry, I do have my coffee. Now today, I get a lot of calls to do videos about how to store XRP safely and about exit strategies for my XRP. Well, that evolves over the course of time. I mean, what a safety and exit strategy video 6 months ago is different from the one I'm going to show you today. But now I can see even more clearly. And so this will be an eye-opener for a lot of you. It'll give a lot of you a lot of good ideas. And I think that you'll really, this is something I've thought out pretty well. And I think that you're going to be extremely interested in what I have to say here. But before I say it, though, I want to tell you this. Things are going to evolve to what we don't have today. Probably the most significant thing we don't have today is like an institutional storage, the way that you can go and buy a stock at Morgan Stanley and you don't worry about what happened to the stock certificates. We can't do that still with our digital assets. But in my opinion, or not in my opinion, but I believe, I'm pretty sure that in the coming, it could be weeks, months. I don't think it's going to be a year, but soon you're going to have custody for individuals. Somebody's going to raise their hand and say, okay, now you can put your digital assets with us and you don't have to worry about them. There's not all these tricks and things you got to do. It's very simple, but it's not that way now. Okay. So I'm going to show you the things that I do. There's really only two ways that if I were you listening to me, the way I would store my digital assets. The first one, there's one category of people that are out there that just aren't comfortable with something like a Ledger Nano S, which is what you're looking at. This is a hardware device for getting. You have to figure out how to work the thing. You can watch videos on YouTube about it, but a Ledger Nano S is the number one way that I recommend that you hold your digital assets. But there is a category, and by the way, this is a hard wallet. For those of you who don't know, it's in the description of every video I've probably ever done. You can click on the link and you can go get one. They're only you can get a Ledger Nano S for like $40 or $50, something like that. I have several of these, okay? And what this allows you to do is store your stay in control of your private keys. They're literally, you can write them down on paper and nobody's going to hack your digital assets. Okay. That's what I recommend. Now, there is a group of people, a large group of people that listen to me that would never be comfortable with even figuring out how to do this. Okay. Now, for those people, this is what I would do. Okay. I have this set up myself. Okay. Now, I don't have all of my digital currency, and I wouldn't recommend putting all your digital currency in one, but I do have it set up. And what that's called is a Coinbase vault, okay? So I just gave you the first way, the most secure way to store your digital assets. The second way is this. First, you need to understand who Coinbase is. Coinbase is probably the biggest company in blockchain as far as having a spotlight on them. They've been around the longest. These guys cannot afford to lose one of your XRP. They're about to go public. They've said it and we've read to you things about it. These guys are headed to IPO. To lose even one XRP of one of their customers would be extremely detrimental where they are right now. And so for those of you that are out there and you're not that technologically savvy, this is the way I would go. All right. What you do first, you have to have a Coinbase account, and then there's it's called a Coinbase vault. Now, if you have a regular Coinbase account and you go and you set up your regular Coinbase account, you'll have a username and a password. Pretty much everybody who is really paying attention after they set their account up and after they bought digital assets, or maybe before, they set up what's called two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication can be done one of two ways, or one of three, really, I think, on Coinbase. The first way is, and the whole idea is to have your username and password on Coinbase, and also have a third option, which involves your phone or another device. So the first way is they set it up with your phone number, so that when you type your username and password on Coinbase to go in, and assuming that some hacker somewhere wanted to go and try to get in your account, they would have to have your username, your password. Then once that's hit, a message would go out via text to your phone. So they would have to have possession of your phone as well. The second way that two-factor authentication is done is by using an app like Google Authenticator, I think is the one that I've used in the past. So in that case, you would download an app called Google Authenticator on your phone. You would two-factor authentication. You would type in your username and password on Coinbase, and then you'd be prompted to enter your number code, which is you would pull up your app on your Google Authenticator app on your phone, and you would have there's a number that just changes every like 60 seconds, and you would type in that number within that 60 seconds, and that would be the third verification that it's you. Okay. And so in that scenario, they would have to have your phone too. Well, what hackers have been doing is what's called SIM swaps. And I don't know all the details, but I know the gist of it. And what I've heard and read is that what hackers are doing is they are literally getting people to go to these mobile carriers like Verizon or T-Mobile or these type of places. They get some of their friend hackers to get jobs there temporarily, long enough to access these systems. And it helps them that they can basically hijack your phone and I think it's for short periods of time, but let's say they hijack your phone for a 24-hour period, take control of probably the text function is probably the easiest one for them to do. They get your username and password, and they log into your account because they are you now, and they've got access to your phone, your text. Okay. So, but the third and the most secure way to do it, and this is the one that you need to know about. This is the one that institutions use for security, like at Google and places like that. And that's called they're called a security key. And this talks about it here on Coinbase, security key for your two-factor authentication. Coinbase supports standard security keys. An option for a security key is Yubico's YubiKey. Learn how to use a security key. Now, in this scenario, same thing. You log into your Coinbase account, username, password, but you set it, by the way, you set this up. You go to your settings in your Coinbase and you set all this up. In this case, you're going to have this little thing. And by the way, this is also, it looks like this. This is also in the description of all of my videos. And you can get this for like $45. Okay. What you're going to do in this scenario, once it's set up, is you will log into your Coinbase account, type in your username and password. You will then be prompted to push this key into your USB drive on your computer. Okay. And nobody's getting into your account until they do that. Okay. That right there is the level of security that you need, especially if you have anything significant that you're keeping in the Coinbase vault. Now back to, that's just to get in your Coinbase account. But let's go back to this to explain to you how the vault works. So this person, once you've got the security key and you've got your Coinbase vault set up, here's what they would have to do. And here's how Coinbase vault works. Let me go back up here. It's time delayed withdrawals. So when you set up your Coinbase vault, you're going to go into Coinbase, and what you'll do is let's say you're setting up an XRP vault. They require that you give them 2 email addresses. Okay. Now, one of those email addresses should be a Google email address. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because you can also secure your Google account with this same key that you use to secure your Coinbase account. It doesn't just secure the Coinbase account, it's also, you can secure your Twitter account, your Google account. So now you got double, triple security, because if you're setting up the Coinbase vault, since it requires 2 email address confirmation, what that means is, let's say, let me see if they've got a picture of it here. I think they do one. Let's see. I think it's right here. Let me do a refresh here. So when you set up that, oh, come on, internet. I hope you're working. Okay, right here. This is it. So if you initiate a withdrawal from your Coinbase vault, what it does is you can do multiple approval. Two email address approval is the way to go. So what happens is an email goes to both of those email addresses, and the person who has access to that email has to go in and click that, yes, I initiated this withdrawal. Okay. And they have to do it on both of them. Well, the reason you want one of those email addresses to be Google is because you want to set up your Google with that same YubiKey. And then once you do that, nobody's getting into your Google email account, folks, without that key. So now you got double security. Okay. Now what happens with a Coinbase vault? Then once both of those email addresses has approved it, then there's a 48-hour waiting period. So even if somebody did have, by some miracle, if they were the ones that initiated this and they did get control of both of your email addresses and they did get your key and all of that was initiated, there is still, you still have 48 hours to discover what's going on. Okay. And I think there's also a text that goes out when this thing's initiated. So that is for those of you out there that aren't comfortable with the hardware wallets. And again, you can go in the description of videos and get the Ledger Nano S, or you can go in there and get that YubiKey for ultimate security on your Coinbase account when you're setting up that vault. And you don't have to have the vault set up to use the YubiKey. You want to have that YubiKey even if you aren't using a vault. If you just got your stuff on Coinbase, big time you need it. All right. Okay. Now let's go on to exit strategy. All right. Now, when most of you think of exit strategy, what you're thinking about is, at a certain price, I'm going to sell my XRP. And that's a normal way to think. What I'm going to do today is use a hypothetical price of a $20 XRP, which I think is very low, by the way. You're going to hypothetically today, you're going to have 100,000 XRP and the price goes to $20 and that is your exit point. And I want to show you the way you need to be thinking about all this. If I was going to sell, and I may not, but if I was going to sell my XRP at $20 or some of it, okay, I would probably do it through Coinbase Pro because it's the easiest, it's probably the most liquid that we as individuals have access to. It's the least expensive. That would be the way to go. You could put your XR, it would be easy for you to take it out of the vault on Coinbase and then put it there, or send it from your Ledger Nano S to Coinbase Pro and sell out at $20. But here's the problem. It's a little thing called taxes. Now, by the way, I'm not an accountant. You should talk to your accountant and your financial advisor before you do anything as far as selling your XRP or whatever you're going to do. But I looked this up, and this is what the IRS, how they look at this right now. According to the IRS official guidance on crypto taxation, crypto is taxed as property, which is just a fancy way to say it's taxed like a stock. If you buy Bitcoin and hold it more than a year, you pay long-term capital gains. So what are long-term? I'm talking to everybody, some of you that may not understand all this, but again, I'm not an accountant. I'm just giving you a hypothetical generalization here. All right. So let's say what you have is you've got this is in the U.S. You've got, and if you're not in the U.S., check what your tax rates are and all that. But in the U.S., a long-term capital gains is something that is a property in this case that you held for over a year. Okay. If it's less than a year, then it's called a short-term capital gain. That's when you pay even more taxes. I don't recommend anybody listening to me sell your XRP in under a year, because you can get hit with as much as 35% on that capital gain. But today I'm just going to use the assumption of 20% and the assumption that you've held yours for over a year, your XRP for over a year, and it hit. You've got 100,000 XRP in this hypothetical, and it's at a 20% tax rate. So here's what happens to you when you sell on Coinbase Pro. Your 100,000 XRP is worth $2 million. You get taxed 20% on that long-term gain. You owe $400,000 in taxes. So you now have made $1.6 million on your XRP. Now, what did the digital asset investor do to get around this little problem? I opened an iTrustCapital account. Okay, this is also in the description of every video I do. They've got a coupon code where you can get a month free. What I did is I opened I already had a Roth IRA, and I opened a Roth IRA with iTrustCapital so that I could invest in XRP. Now, in a Roth IRA, you're putting post-tax money you've already been taxed on. I think you can put up to $6,000 a year into this IRA, which is what I do. And then you can invest in through this iTrustCapital IRA, you can get tokenized gold, but you can also get XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, I think, and several others. All right. So once I have that XRP in this iTrustCapital Roth IRA, guess what happens in this same scenario? When I sell at $20, that 100,000 XRP, and it's $2 million in value, do you know what I'm taxed? That would be zero. I have $2 million in XRP. I've just sold $2 million. And by the way, on iTrustCapital, you can sell into USD, or you can sell into something else, or sell into USD and then buy something else. But all of it in a Roth IRA are completely non-taxable. Okay. It's not taxed. Okay. And then after age whatever, I can take it out, and it is free money, folks. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know, and you can also, if any of you out there that are listening to me that have been laid off, you can roll your 401ks and all these different retirement vehicles. You got to call iTrustCapital to find out which ones don't work, but there's a lot of different ones that do. You can roll that if you've been laid off into an iTrustCapital IRA. They've got different kinds of IRAs. The Roth is completely non-taxable, but a regular IRA, I think, is taxed a little bit or something when you retire, or when you're old enough for it to come out. But it's more tax advantage. It grows tax deferred in a regular IRA. So the tax advantages are great. Okay. It's a no-brainer. It's the no-brainer of no-brainers. All right. Now let's talk about the scenario that I really think that we're going into. There is a scenario, folks, where XRP is declared a currency and that it's not even taxable. There is that scenario because nobody has claimed that they haven't. The SEC will not say what XRP is. Nobody has said what XRP is. I believe they're going to call it currency. And I believe there is a scenario, maybe it's very unlikely, where XRP is not even taxable. It's just another currency. It's like all of a sudden you have your dollars in your pocket and you go and buy things. Let's talk about that scenario. I mean, I guess it goes under the category of exit strategy, but you're not really exiting. Here's where I see the world going. Okay. Have you noticed I've told you about it. Have you noticed what Uphold's doing? I want you to look at this. This is Uphold's, the front page of their website. Again, we're looking at that same, we've just, in this case, XRP's gone to $20, and we still have that, 100,000 XRP. So our XRP is not sold, but it's worth $2 million. It's just sitting there in XRP. Now, let's pretend that I have it on Uphold. Now, they've also talked about potentially creating a vault, in which case you could have a vault there at Uphold. All right, let's assume that they had a vault, and they might very soon. Uphold Vault, I've got that XRP sitting there, but look what I have access to. Instead of selling my XRP, I can diversify. Let's say it's turned into a currency and it's not taxable. All of a sudden, I can diversify. This is where I think our futures go. This is where I think the future is. You're going to be able to have one platform, and all these banks are going to convert themselves to be able to do this too, I believe. You're going to have one platform. We're going to be in a completely liquid world where you can invest in anything and your XRP can just sit there and work for you. Okay. And I'm going to show you a couple of scenarios. First is that you're going to have the ability to diversify. I'm going to come back to this and go back through this. But first I want to show you one of their products, one option. This is Cred Earn on their website. Now, a lot of people listening to me don't do, like me, I don't do these right now because the custody part of this is not completely, we're not completely protected on the custody part on these platforms yet, as far as insurance or FDIC or stuff like that. But that's where we're going. When we get there, you're going to be very open to these types of things. This is where you just earn money on your XRP. You can earn up to 10%. Let's do a hypothetical on that. Interest hypothetical. Let's say that same 100,000 goes to $2 million worth of XRP. At 5%, you could just leave your XRP there and earn, I just used 5% as a hypothetical, earn $100,000 a year. You don't even have to work, folks. Most people don't. With the way most people live, that's a lot of money. That's a life, right? So let's go back to, that's one thing, one way. But I believe you're going to be able to have all of your digital assets on one platform and you're going to be able to invest across all sorts of asset classes, and you won't ever have to go anywhere. And I think Uphold's a great example of one of the companies where you're going to be able to do it. Here on Uphold right now, not tomorrow. Now, some of these things don't apply in some countries, but over time it will. Right now, you can invest in all of these digital assets. And then you can also invest in equities. And this isn't available in some countries, but fractional shares of different equities. There's Amazon, Google, Apple, AT&T, Bank of America. This is just some of what they have going on. You're also able to invest in ETFs. That's a treasury bond ETF, China large cap ETF, high yield corporate bonds. There's an emerging markets ETF. And then there's more stocks, Netflix and different things like this. They've got utility tokens. They got all kinds of utility tokens. They got stable coins. And then they also have national currencies. You can invest in the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, euro, I don't even know what that is. Israeli shekel? Okay. But as you go down here, then they've got metals. You can invest in gold, platinum, silver. Do you see where this is going? Now let's take it a step further. And I've even talked to Uphold about this. Let's take it a step further. Now I've talked about this. Uphold is going to integrate what I've been talking about, which is Link2. And you can check this out at link2.com. And they also have apps in the App Store on Google and on Apple. But it's linqto.com. But this you're also going to have on platforms such as Uphold and other platforms into the future. I have some of this Uphold, these Uphold private equity, Ripple private equity. I also have Link2 private equity. But you're going to be able to get this inside of a platform like Uphold right alongside your XRP and all this other stuff. And by the way, right now you can buy this in XRP right now on the Link2 platform, but you're also going to be able to do it in one place like on Uphold. Okay. Now there's only a couple of things. There's really only 2 or 3 things left here, folks. Then your entire financial life is on one platform, and they're going to do it just a matter of time. How about, this is Bank of America. How about auto loans? What about, I think what you're going to be able to do is you're going to have that XRP sitting on that one platform wherever it is. And it might be Bank of America or Uphold or BNY Mellon. You're going to be able to use that XRP as a pledge to get your car loan if you want to. And you're also going to be able to do the same thing for your home loan. And do you know what the final piece of the recipe is? That would be the tokenization of asset classes right here. This is on BNY Mellon's site. They're already planning it. Tokenization, opening illiquid assets to investors. And what this is, here's just a little diagram. They give an example here of diamonds and oil. But just imagine that you can buy, imagine that a piece of real estate is tokenized. Let's say that the Golden Gate Bridge is tokenized. You're going to be able to go, let's say that you live in San Francisco and you love the Golden Gate Bridge. You will be able to buy a tokenized Golden Gate Bridge token, and that can be in your portfolio on these platforms. We are entering a completely liquid world. Or let's say that you're into antique cars. There are going to be people that tokenize a collection of antique cars, and you will be able to buy into tokenization of that. Let's think in terms of, let's say that you're into World War II memorabilia. There are going to be people who tokenize World War II memorabilia, and you're going to be able to have a token that represents your ownership in a collection of World War II memorabilia. And you'll be able to sell out of that into XRP or into gold or what. This is the world we're going into. This is where this is all going. If you do nothing but show your friends and family this video right here, I think it will open their eyes completely to what is here and what is coming. I hope this video on securing your digital assets and exit strategies on your digital assets was really eye-opening, but because this is a culmination of everything I've learned really since 2013. And this is the world we're entering. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that we are moving into a very liquid world. And those of you that are listening to my voice are going to be some of the ones that benefit the most. Thank you for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.